Okay, problem four. Problem four, guys. So we have a firm that's that is a profit maximizing dairy firm. Okay, that's operating in a constant cost, perfectly competitive industry that is in long run equilibrium. And we need to draw labeled side by side graphs for the dairy market and for Best Milk, the firm, and show each of the following: price and output for the industry, and price and output for Best Milk. So I'm going to help you out with these graphs, but I really want you to understand that this is something you're going to need to be able to do on your own and understand, how to not only how to create the graphs, but what would change in the graph if things change in either the firm or the industry. Anyway, so let's just work through this whole thing. And by the way, this is also going to help you understanding this problem is another problem that will help you. Understanding this problem will help you with your quiz. So make sure that you really understand what's going on here. So we need to make two side-by-side graphs, and that's going to look like this. So we have the market on the left and the firm on the right. Now the market's simple. You just simply draw your basic supply and demand curves. The supply here upward sloping and the demand downward sloping, with your equilibrium price and quantity right here. I've got this price 2 here because I wanted to sort of save that spot for the next part of the problem. But for this first part, you just need the equilibrium price and quantity for the market. And then when you extend that price over, that becomes the demand curve for the firm. So this is important to understand. In a perfectly competitive market, the price is set by the market. So the firm is a price taker. So this price line becomes the demand curve, which is also equal to the marginal revenue, which, by the way, is also equal to average revenue. They're all equal. Price equals MR equals demand equals AR. So now the problem tells us that the industry is in long run equilibrium. That means that all the firms are making zero economic profit, right? Should know that from reading the chapter and watching the Khan Academy videos. So when the firm at that point, if the market is in long run equilibrium and the firm is making zero economic profit, then average total cost is going to equal marginal cost, and that's also both of those are going to equal the price. So this is the point right here. So this is how you want to draw this graph for this first part of the problem. This Q2 is for the next question, but I just have it here to kind of save my spot when I do that. But anyway, this is the first part right here. So you also can see that a marginal cost is equal to average total cost at the lowest point on the average total cost curve. As soon as marginal cost is higher than average total cost, that is where average total cost starts to increase right there. Starts to actually go up. Okay. So that's the first part. And once again, the important thing to know here is that the price in the market becomes the price and the demand curve and the marginal revenue for the firm. Okay, let's go back. What else we got to do here? So Now, part B, we're going to assume that milk is a normal good and that consumer income falls. So we know from our previous chapters that if a consumer's income goes down, they're going to consume less of a normal good and more of an inferior good, but certainly less of a normal good. So we're also going to assume that Best Milk, the firm, continues to produce. So on your graphs in Part A, show the effect of a decrease in income on each of the following in the short run: price and output for the industry, price and output for Best Milk, and the area of loss or profit for Best Milk. Okay, so how's that going to work? So let's jump back over here. The first thing we need to do is show that the demand curve for the market shifts down and to the left because of the lower income of the consumers. So it's going to shift down and to the left. So we have a shrinking demand in the market. And what that's going to do is change the price. So let's put that right in here. So now we're at a lower price in the market. And that's going to give us a lower quantity produced in the market. So that's going to be about right there. So that's what you want. That's what you need to do with your market graph. And you can also show, let me get my down area, and you can also show that the price has dropped. So that's what that should look like. Now, what happens in the firm? Well, the firm, once again, is a price taker. So that price, that new lower price, is going to extend over. I can line this up, hopefully. Let's see here. Pretty close, right? Move that out of the way. So now this is the new price in the firm. And the firm is still going to produce where marginal cost equals price. So we're going to put that right here. Okay? At this point right here, where marginal cost equals price, that's going to be their new level of production. So they're going to move from Q star to Q2. Now, the last thing is the firm going to be operating at a profit or a loss? Well, we can see at this new price and new level of a production, quantity produced, the price is quite a bit lower than average total cost. So the difference between the cost, average total cost, and the price is going to be the firm's loss in the short run. So we want to show that like this. So that this area right here is going to be the firm's loss. And let me just bring that there. So that's what that should look like. So they move from here, this point right here, on the higher price when they were in long run equilibrium, to this point right here. And they're going to operate at a loss. Okay, now, what next? So, following the decrease in consumer income, what must be true for Best Milk to continue to produce in the short run? Well, this has to do with whether, well, actually, I'm not going to say anything. You guys can read back over the chapter and look at those graphs in the book that shows what has to happen for a firm to continue operating at a loss and what has to happen for a firm to make the decision to just shut down. So you can find this answer on your own. I'll let you do that. Part D is we're going to assume that the industry adjusts to a new long-run equilibrium. Compare the following between the initial and the long run equilibrium. So price in the industry, output of a typical firm, and the number of firms in the dairy industry. So what's going to happen here? Well, what's going to happen is with operating at a loss, some firms are going to just, depending on how big the loss is, and also if you go back to how you answered part C, which I'm going to let you answer, some firms are going to keep operating for a while, and some firms are going to drop out. So when firms drop out of the market because they just can't make a profit at this newer, lower price, and the shrinking of demand, that's going to cause supply in the market to shift to the left. And eventually, enough firms are going to drop out where we end up back at the original price. And so for the market, you're going to end up with less quantity produced overall in the market at the original equilibrium price. So you're going to end up at this point right here. Whoops, I don't need him, I need him. Yeah, you're going to end up at this point right here with a lower quantity in the market, but at the same price that we started with. Now, in the firm, they're going to end up right back where they started. Let me see if I can get my guy. There we go, right back here, because the price is going to come back up to the original price. So if this firm is able to weather the storm and stay in the market, this firm is going to be right back in the long run to where they began, which is at long run equilibrium. Okay, I think that pretty much does it for question 4. Let me make sure, or problem 4. Yeah. So the a number of firms in the dairy industry are going to decrease, and the output for a typical firm that stays in the market is going to be right back where it was. Okay, that's problem 4. Stay tuned for problem 5.